Добрий день.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joined us in Ukraine Media Center Ukraine Forum. All of you here in this studio. It's year 9 of the war and day 280 of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian people. And now we will have the presentation of the modern Ukrainian culture, which is called 100 Views on War. You see this exhibition in our studio. The works of Ukrainian cartoonists are represented in this exhibition, the works created during the war. And I want to introduce our speakers today: Oleg Smal, cartoonist, painter, sculptor, journalist, curator of the Municipal Art Gallery. By Mr. Oleg's side is Ms. Yulia Goldenberg, founding director of the Ukraine-wide Charity Foundation Zarady tebe, for your sake. And our next speaker is Oleksandr Mamatov, head of Ukraine-wide organization of Invalids of War, Armed Forces, and participants in the military operations. So let's talk about this exhibition. How did you get inspired, and maybe a few words about the authors. Good afternoon, dear friends. The exhibitions during the war, during such exhibitions, I always start with the same phrase: the life goes on. How did we come up with the idea of the exhibition? Well, it's pretty clear. War and the cartoonists, who are just by default have to do something funny. This is the specificity of the genre. The cartoons, caricature, it should call for a smile. So they started drawing the war. It's obviously difficult to do something funny about blood and suffering, but cartoon is the genre which is pretty specific and peculiar, and probably it works as a psychotherapy and forces people who see those images, which makes them think, obviously, if they have something to think with. Well, what is the company of artists whose works were gathered during this exhibition? It was pretty accidental when I gathered the works of my colleagues around Ukraine. Well, it was gathered just like a football team. The 11 authors from all around Ukraine are gathered here from Kyiv, Irpin, Vishneve, Zaporizhzhia, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Zdolbuniv, Berezhany, all across Ukrainian geography. All of them are represented here. These artists are all professional cartoonists, so there are no amateurs here who draw something during their free time. So they are the cartoonists, famous all over the world, known all over the world, and it's no exaggeration. And this team of cartoonists, within 30 years of independence, were able to win more than 2,000 prizes in different international contests. Well, if we bring all their diplomas and medals here, there would be a pile reaching all the way to the ceiling. It may be a world record, because maybe no country in the world has such number of prizes in this genre. The works are to some extent philosophical, they are profound. Well, you should observe them with care. and the team of authors is currently representing Ukrainian cartoons pre-war, and the war subject as well in different countries of Europe. Now there are exhibitions going on in Slovakia, Netherlands, Belgium, France, in the United States as well. We do it with the support of our cartoonist colleagues from around the world. The cartoons may serve as a weapon which helps people of the world to understand the situation, the substance of this, the essence of this war. However, all the cartoonists would like this subject to disappear just in a blink of an eye from our thinking, and we as a normal sane people would continue drawing cartoons with some eternal subjects like space, beer, rock and roll, and stars. Okay, your questions. Mr. Oleksandr, why such events are important during the war? Why cartoons are important? And how can we deliver the information about the war through this genre? Why did you get it? How did you come up with the idea of organizing this exhibition? We came from Kherson a couple of days ago. What's interesting there is no power supply, no heat supply, no water. But when we communicated, when we were talking with our servicemen, like one of our servicemen found like a small watermelon, this size watermelon, and when we started taking pictures with this small watermelon, people demonstrated quite a different attitude to life. They became they looked happier. So sometimes you cannot express all of your thoughts. You can send everybody to follow their Russian ship. There is, well, but you can see that there is a cartoon with the Lavrov and Putin. We couldn't express it in our words, but it's expressed way better in this drawing. What we were thinking, in my opinion, this exhibition like this is necessary today. There's a lot of sorrow. It's difficult. Many of our guys, they become disabled, but exhibition like this, it's still necessary. It's needed. It's minor component, but it's still a component of morale and psychological support for our guys. They fight, but they fight for our land, and there is no other way, and no other way even can be discussed. And it's my pleasure that our cartoonists, we met Oleg back during Maidan times. I've seen them there for the first time, and I got an understanding. I did not get immediately the understanding of who drew them, but then we met a couple of times later, and we had joint projects, jointly organized exhibitions when the artists were selling their works and channeled the funds to our United States. Well, sometimes the government cannot make it in a timely manner, so now we know each other for a number of years, and it's my pleasure. Thank you. Miss Yulia, why did you support this type of exhibition? I think that during the war it's utmostly important to prove to ourselves and to the others that we're alive, that we continue to live, that we continue to create. The theaters keep working, and regardless of what's going on, these are the real artifacts, because all these artists, they are the witnesses of the events going on around us. Back on Saturday, I think the whole country were lighting up the candles to honor the victims of Holodomor. It's been 90 years. They were trying to destroy us 90 years ago, and they're trying to destroy us now, but they don't make it. They haven't changed at all, but we have. We changed, we got united, we became more powerful, intense. And I think that maybe in 5 years we will be able to study the history of what was going on within the last 9 months or maybe last 9 years, thanks to the works, including works like these. Mr. Oleg, how difficult it is to draw things like this during the war? When I started working on these drawings, I had a feeling that you open your cranium and you pour a cup of blood into there. It's difficult, but you have to do something funny. You have to do something. I cite it sometimes. I quote Friedrich Nietzsche, who said that so spoke Zarathustra, that even those who are not afraid of anything are afraid of laughter. And I know that on the other side of the barricades, the aggressor doesn't have any cartoonists. In Russia, they have cartoonists, but they don't work on this propaganda. Regardless of what I've been informed by my friends, their military machine allocated a lot of funds for propaganda, but they were not able to find good artists. So what's going on that side of the barricades has zero effect. And in Ukraine, all the cartoonists with no exclusion were joined around the subject of protection of freedom, of defense of their land, because it's not about the liberty and independence of the country. It's the freedom of every individual. Dear colleagues, dear friends, I'm sure you may have questions or reflections on what you've seen. So please, if you have any, there is a microphone we have. You may ask your questions. Good afternoon, Yulia Gatina, Ukrinform. My question is in regard of the cartoons. How are you going to use them further on? May them be translated into some murals in some open spaces so people can see them not only during exhibition? Well, it's a good question, and maybe even a little bit painful to a certain extent. Because Ukrainian cartoonists in our information space, they take very little space. Well, it's related to the general crisis of the press, because press and cartoon are quite united phenomena. What is in my mind is that the cartoons are in demand all around the world. Ukrainian cartoonists work in the world markets. Even today, their pictures pop up in different European or American editorials on TV, in other information resources. Why there is so little attention to Ukrainian cartoons during the war, so little attention from the state, from the government? So it's a question better addressed with those who are taking care of information policy. Our cartoonists are quite hard people. Never they never had regret about some foreigners, but even about their own politicians. They have cartoons of all of our presidents, ministers, and people usually don't like it. So this is why they probably don't take a lot of space in information field. Well, I have an idea if the stars are aligned in the right way, we would like to issue a series of post stamps with these cartoons and also maybe with the prints on the t-shirts. If there is a resolution taken by this reputed organization, maybe people would be able to see all these cartoons as they pass by along the street. But we'll see. Any more questions, dear friends? Mr. Oleg, as to your foreign colleagues, how do they perceive your activity now and the activity of your Ukrainian colleagues? What are their comments? Do you communicate with them? Maybe you exchange some experience with them, because there's a little number of countries who have an experience of drawing cartoons during the war. Well, obviously, all the cartoonists of the world, they know each other. It's like a Mason League. For the very first day of the war, I received letters from my colleagues from around the world who were asking just regular questions. Are we alive? Do we need any help? Do we need any aid? It's been felt, and the fact that the exhibitions are going on all around the world, which include our cartoons. By the way, I forgot to mention Japan. There was an exhibition as well with the participation of cartoonists from Ukraine. So there should be efforts taken to conduct such exhibitions not only in Ukraine but also abroad. You need to coordinate it with municipalities. You have to rent some premises, and the colleagues of ours over there, they understand it better than the politicians. They understand what we fight for, that we fight for their freedom as well. If we fall, the Europe falls as well, and all the freedom of expression, all the freedom of creativity will be destroyed as well. How necessary is the support of such projects, of projects like this, by such powerful organizations like yours? And are there any more projects that your organization supports? Well, it's necessary, in my opinion. For us, it's a little bit easier to open the doors of some institutions than it may be to someone else. This is just my opinion. I already mentioned that we cooperated, and we keep cooperating, and we will cooperate further with different institutions. We have big plans, not only for this year, but for the next year as well. The next events that we will hold, we will announce them through your channels, and it's necessary because during the war, when every day on the TV you only see the news, there are other kinds of information for some psychological discharge for the citizens, and this is the way we're doing it, and we will keep doing it. We have more questions, please. Michael Ashura, Newsweek magazine. How can I buy one of these cartoons? Microphone, please. Well, it's the best question today, because this is one of the biggest problems of Ukrainian cartoonists. We are always being addressed to do something for free, and sometimes I started a discussion with the contractor or with the order of works. I'm sorry, and they say no. Do you pay? Do you pay for the authors? Do you pay to the authors? Well, yeah, we do, but do you pay to the artists? Well, no, we don't. So if you are interested in any of these works, I will leave you my business card, and you can get the contact details of any of the artists represented in this exhibition, and I think it will be easy for you to arrange the procurement. So for what I understand, there are no Ukrainian editorials who would publish the works of our authors. Well, some minor fractions of our press, yes, they pay the fees to the artists, but the cartoonists are not so multiple. Well, you know, it's like the finger, you can count them by the fingers of two hands, but the editorials who publish their works are even less, and the cartoonists, they have a rule not to enter the territory where other colleague works. Well, it's a noble rule, but still. Well, there's an idea we're having. These cartoons will be exhibited in Ukraine form and in other places. So if anybody wants to buy these cartoons, so we will maybe establish a bid. Will the first auction in Ukraine, that will be the first thing of such kind. It's a great idea to discuss. It will be a great news for the authors. Well, what I can add, I'm not sure that any sane person will buy a Putin's cartoon to hang it on the wall of their home. Well, Mr. Oleksandr remembered my exhibition in Maidan, and one man during Maidan, he came up to me and bought one of my works with a Putin's cartoon. He said he put it on the wall of his toilet at his home. Well, people have different motivation. Do you have any favorite works of this series? If there is, can you share the details with us? Well, to me, as an artist, I don't like either of my works, because if I had more time, I would have made it better. But my colleagues who are not cartoonists, sometimes they send their comments to my cartoons. And one of my friends back from the institute from Zaporizhia, he said that one of the saddest drawings of mine in the bottom left corner, lower row, about the Budapest memorandum. This is the saddest drawing of mine. Unfortunately, nothing changed since that. Dear friends, maybe you have any more questions or comments or any reflections? Miss Yulia, regarding your charity organization, what are the other projects that you support, and is this the first culture project that was added to your portfolio, so to say? We had a lot of different projects related to culture before the war. We even were making short films, and the promo videos dedicated to the righteous persons throughout the walls. We were making exhibitions. We were organizing exhibitions, and now we pay more attention to the social help. Unfortunately, because this is the most important thing now, we were opening one exhibition with Mr. Oleksandr in the end of summer. We had to have it open before the 24th of August, but unfortunately we were only able to make it in the end of the summer. Can it be artistic exhibition? No, because it was the exhibition of artifacts of war. Regardless, we have to keep it, we have to preserve those evidences, and any event as of today is very important. I want to emphasize it for an umpteenth time. The most important thing is that we keep on living in sorrow, in sadness. We don't know how soon it will end, how long it will last, but we're already almost through 9 months of the war. We would like to pay the lowest price for it, but many of us know that freedom doesn't come for free. Everything has its price, and the events like this have to happen on a daily basis. Now, it's very important. Well, friends, the art is transforming, we are transforming, we are changing, but the life goes on, and we have to have more events like this in our lives. I want to thank all the authors represented in this exhibition. I hope you may observe the works with more care after these briefings. So let's stand united, let's work for our victory, trust in our armed forces, and glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. Thank you.